What's up, everybody? Welcome to the workshop. I'm Luke with Building with Kinfolk, and today I'm going to be showing you how to set up your Dust Deputy. Now, if you don't know what this is, I'd highly suggest grabbing one. It's very affordable. I know most people already have a shop vac. This is what you need to run with your shop vac when you're working in the shop. The reason being is, what this is going to do is this essentially going to pull all the nasty dust and crap and put it in this bucket, and you're going to have very little going over here to your shop vac, making sure that you're not burning out the motor, filling up the filter. If you've used a shop vac before in a wood shop, you know how easily that filter gets gunked up and nasty. So this is the answer to that, and it really is an awesome answer, short of getting a big dust collector. And I have a big dust collector, and I still use these because they're great for moving around, being very portable, that kind of thing within your shop. So really dig this. I got a system that sits underneath my workbench back here, and that's how I make everything happen. So what I'm going to be using it with more than anything is my random orbital tool down here, because that throws dust like crazy. I mean, I run filters down here, fans down here, and what you don't see in my workshop is, you know, I've still got a whole garage out there of all kinds of other stuff, from mountain bikes to computer gear to little couch area for the kids to hang out and watch shows, and even the garage, so the wife's car is over there. So got a ton of stuff down here, and what I don't want to do is cover everything in dust. So all that to be said, when you buy the Dust Deputy, one thing you need to know is it only comes with this, nothing else. So you're going to have to buy some parts for it. The first is some kind of bucket. Now I'm using a 5-gallon bucket from Lowe's. It's a couple of bucks. Make sure it has a good top on it. You're also going to need 6 1/4 inch by 1 inch bolts and nuts, which we've got right here. And then you'll need some kind of silicone or gasket sealant, something like that. I've got this because it was over in my bucket of vehicle tools that I use, because I had a Jeep and I spent all my time trying to keep everything from leaking. And if you have a Jeep, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's basically going to be it, other than some just kind of random tools here. This is not a hard project, but I want to make sure you know how to do it so that it's the most efficient. Now, there are a lot of different ways to do this. You can look online. There's a ton of different YouTube videos. A lot of really awesome people out there doing some videos on different ways. Some of them put wood tops on this. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. I'm going to keep it very basic, very simple, very cost affordable, and it's still going to get the job done. Now, what happens here is your vacuum is going to be attached right up here. So this hose, and these will take anything from 2 to 2 1/4. Okay, so this right here, this line will attach to the top. And then without a line attached to the top, might get awkward here. I've got all kinds of adapters here coming off of my random orbital, but that will connect just like that. So what happens is, you know, as long as you got a good airtight seal, it's sucking everything from here, and all your dust, as soon as it gets in here, is dropping down into this bucket, and then essentially clean air is just running out of it. So very simple tool. We're going to get right after it here, start building. This is not hard. One of the first things that we are going to do is pull this to the side. We've got to cut some holes on the top. And, you know, compass is a huge thing to have here. If you don't have one, you can always put a little screw right in the center of your top and get a string and measure it out, tie it to a pencil, and drag it around however you best want to do it. But essentially, you're going to make a circle. And we're going to go ahead and do a 3-inch circle. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this to 1.5 inches, and as soon as I have it set, we will make a mark here on top of our lid, because that's what we're going to cut out, and that'll be the area that's right here. So let's get a circle drawn on here. Start to get this cut. Awesome. We got a circle up here. I'm going to go ahead and hit this with the Sharpie all the way around now, just to make sure I can see it good whenever I'm using my saw on this. All right, so I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but right there I've got my 3-inch hole. So we're going to go ahead and grab a jigsaw, throw a little bit on there. We're going to have to, you can do this a couple of different. If you have a sharp blade, you can do that as well. It doesn't matter. This top is not thick. I'm going to go ahead and show you using a jigsaw, because some of you may end up having thicker material, some type of wood, anything like that. But we're going to go ahead and cut this circle out, and then after that, we're going to start our drilling process and marking for our holes that'll hold it down. And we just won't be too far from being done. Like I said, this is such an easy project. So to get your jigsaw down in there, go ahead and grab a bit that's big enough to drill you a first pilot hole that you can get your blade for your jigsaw down in, and then you can start from there. The next thing we're going to do is go ahead and set this right on top, line that hole up. You may have to look down at there, and we're going to take a Sharpie and we're going to mark all of these different bolt areas where we're going to have to drill a hole. For this, we're going to use a 1/4 inch bit, just like our bolts are. So we'll get this lined up. get it marked up, and start doing some drilling. We've now got our hole cut out. We've got all 6 of these holes drilled that are going to be how we attach the dust deputy to our 5-gallon bucket. Now we're going to pop this lid off, and we're going to go ahead and attach this. We're going to have a step here you need to make sure you don't skip. It's going to be important. All right, so we've got our lid off. I'm going to pull that plastic piece out of there. Now, one thing that's very important about this whole system is you want to make sure everything's airtight as possible, okay? So the one thing that we make sure we want to do, especially with these flimsy tops, is we want to go ahead and use this gasket, silicone, any of that all the way around here to make sure this has a fresh seal to this and we're not going to be losing a lot of air right there. So I've got this JB Weld gasket maker and sealant. If you own a Jeep, you have some of this. I promise it just may be empty. But we're going to put it all along the base so that we have a good seal here. And I want to make sure I've got a solid line moving all the way from one side to the other. Now we're going to make sure we align these holes. And then we're going to stick it right down there on top. Just like that. Perfect. Good. Once that's on there, go ahead and grab our bolts and our nuts here. Of course, we'll need 6. I've got one pulled out, I think. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing for the nuts. And let's attach those. All right, so we've got it tightened down. Now, the one thing you may have to do on yours, it depends on how flimsy the top is, and I am going to do it on this one. I've had to do it on some of mine and some I haven't, but I end up putting another bolt. Just drilling down and putting a couple of extra bolts through there keeps it from getting weird on me down there. It's kind of hard to see on video, but sometimes it'll press up or this lid will kind of separate a little bit when you start tightening everything. So we're going to put a couple of extra bolts in there. That way we know this is staying tight. All right, there we go. So we've got a few more screws added down in there. You can see. Now, like I said earlier, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. If you wanted to, you could actually put, a piece of wood down on the bottom and screw to that. That'll help a little bit, but for the sake of budget and ease, we're keeping it just like this. I've got what looks like a good seal all the way around, and if not, I can throw, some kind of caulk sealant right around the edge right there, and that doesn't hurt my feelings at all. So, there you go. We now have the Dust Deputy. To use it, we simply make sure this lid is on good, and we'll plug this to the top, like so, and then we'll have our whatever tool we're hooking up, we'll hook up to the side right there. Excellent. And then you'd be able to use your tool. Okay, a lot of different ways to keep all this, shelvings, racks, all kinds of stuff. I like to keep mine underneath the table, and then I've got a long hose here for my orbital sander, which is pretty much exclusively what I use this system for. And so, guys, like I said, this is one of the greatest tools you can add to your shop as far as helping make sure you don't have a ton of dust floating around, getting crazy, messing with your lungs, and also getting on all your crap. All right, guys, y'all know what to do. Hit subscribe. Make sure you're following on all the social channels. Leave some comments down below about how much you love your Dust Deputy, because I know if you've got one, you love it. And make sure to check out the site for all different projects that we have coming up right now. We got all kinds of builds happening. Everything from kids stuff all the way up to big dining room tables. So make sure you're over there, buildingwithkinfolk.com. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time at the workshop.